celebrate our 6th season of Scouts All-Stars, and I hope everyone has a great night and enjoys the food, drinks, and has a great time.
Greetings. We are gathered today to celebrate the academic and athletic achievements that have been done by our players. Thank you for coming out, and I hope you have a good time.
Very good, gentlemen. It's a good start. Now we have 2 gentlemen coming up. They're going to do some poems, so let's see if they can keep the momentum going. Did they make these poems themselves? They write them? No? They just get to read them? All right, Jalen. Is Jalen and Lonnie? Is Lonnie here or Jalen's here? Which means you're speaking for 2 guys, so your poem better be twice as good, all right? So the pressure's on you. Come on up.
What is our deepest fear? Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is your light, not your darkness, that most frightens us. You playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as a child. It's not in some of us. It is in everyone. As we let our light shine, we give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberate others.
I see Zach is cringing over there because he knows he's next. But I've heard we have a wonderful history of the program, and we do know it's 6 years, because I've been able to be involved with it for 6 years and follow it and do some stories on it. But Zach's going to take us to a whole new level here, finding out the history of the program. Zach, it's your turn, buddy.
Good evening. I'm Zach Mosier, a 50th member of Scouts All-Stars. I'd like to share a little of our organization's history. Scouts All-Stars organization started in January 2010 with the first tribe. The vision for Scouts All-Stars began when Marcus Scott Ford noticed that there were no basketball programs designed for children his son's age in the Hinesville area. While many thought starting a 10 under AAU basketball program was a great idea, no one wanted to commit the time and effort needed to start one. Scouts All-Stars is not just a basketball program, it was designed to include an academic aspect as well so that the players would strive to reach real success in life. Therefore, all players are required to maintain an average excellence as the expectation. Community service is a way that the players give back and learn what it means to be a contributing member of society. We have participated in many different activities throughout the Southeast Georgia area, from food drives to cleanup. Scouts All-Stars is also committed to working with all players until they graduate from high school and attend college. It is the organization's goal for all players to receive a college scholarship for basketball, academics, or both. As you can see, Scouts All-Stars is not just an AAU program, but an academic program that incorporates basketball and academic excellence. All players understand that academics are always will be more important than athletics. The idea and excellence of our program is celebrated today at our 6th annual awards banquet. We are proud of our history and look forward to future success as we continue to strive for excellence.
His last word that I heard was excellence, and the theme for today is excellence requires hard work. Russell, let me ask you first, what does excellence requires hard work? What does that mean to you?
In order to be excellent, you have to put in the time and work to get to where you're going, like to where your goals are.
How much time do you guys put in the gym during the summer? Has any idea? Ever count up all the hours that you spend in the gym? Marcus, have you? No. Either or. Have you? You guys ever calculated how many hours you put into the gym? Because excellence requires lots of work, lots of hard work. Hopefully you're putting just as much work into the classroom as you are in the gym. Only the classroom is about to start in another week or two. This is the chance where all you guys get to come up. Not just one, everybody, because it's the mission, and you've all memorized the mission, right? Completely, have it all down pat, which means one of you guys will head right in the middle here, but you got to kind of surround the microphone, but I want to hear it loud and clear so that all the parents and the coaches and everybody can hear what your mission's about, because I don't know what it is myself, and I'm interested to hear it. All right, everybody come on up.
Our mission is Scott Stars to teach basketball and life skills, young males who have the potential to academically and athletically play basketball on the college level.
Malik, you can stay up. All right, by the way, we're gonna go through the guest speaker. We're gonna do dinner right after that. So we're changing it up just a little bit. If you hang tight. Malik is going to introduce our guest speaker, and before our guest speaker comes up here, I do have a question for you guys. And does anyone in this place, besides one person, know where Medicine Hat is? The town of Medicine Hat. Has anyone ever heard of it? Have you? Nope. Well, our guest speaker actually played baseball in Medicine Hat, and I got to tell you something. It's not very often. I've been covering sports my entire life. I finally learned something new too. In the Toronto Blue Jays organization, a team from Medicine Hat, which is in Alberta, Canada. Am I correct?
Correct.
So everybody gets to learn something new every single day. So you guys can remember that. So it is now Malik's turn to give Doug Roper, Mr. Roper, a proper welcome.
Good evening, my name is Malik Allen. I'm a player on Scott's All-Stars team. I'm happy to be able to introduce the guest speaker. Many of us in this room, including myself, desire to become a student athlete at the next level and dream of playing on a professional team. Our guest speaker this evening has lived this dream. Tonight he will share his wisdom and experience to inspire the players, families, and friends. Our guest speaker was a college athlete at Clemson University. He was drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays. Today he is a member of the Vidalia Schools Board and is the current president of the Georgia School Board. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Doug Roper.
How's everybody doing? Well, let me tell you a little bit first about how I got here tonight. As Malik said, I am now currently the president of the GSBA, Georgia School Boards Association. Marcus and I have shared several things in common, one being our love of sports and the other being our love of education. I serve on the Vidalia City Board of Education locally, and now I've had a chance to serve for going on 3 years now at the state level with GSBA. And after I had my incoming president speak in Savannah, Marcus came up to me and asked me if I would be willing to be the keynote for this event, which I was ecstatic to do. And hopefully I can share some things with you guys that will help you as you aspire to be student athletes. I love the thing that you guys have, excellence is hard work. I want to share with you a little bit about the hard work that it took for me to become the ball player that I became. Early on, when I was young, I was fortunate to be surrounded, probably like you guys, with other kids my age that enjoyed the game of baseball. And so we were kind of baseball junkies. You know, when I was in the 6th grade, I quit playing all other sports. At that time, I played some basketball. Probably couldn't compete with you guys, but decided to give that up and just focus on baseball. And so as I'm growing up, as we went through each level, we won a state championship at each level, growing up in rec ball. And then when I got to high school, my senior year in 1995, we won a state championship at the high school level. I got a chance to go on and play college baseball, as Malik said, at Clemson University. And and in 1996, as a freshman, got to go out and compete for a national championship at the College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska. In 1999, I got a chance that most kids in America dream about, and that's to sign a professional contract with the Toronto Blue Jays. And I say all of that not to brag on myself, but to paint a picture. But one thing I want you guys to understand is that it's not always been easy. That road was a difficult road that got me to where I eventually was as a ball player. I want to share some of those experiences with you tonight. One of them, and some of this is going to be a repeat from Marcus, so I apologize. But one of those was my very first college at-bat when I was at Clemson in fall ball. It wasn't against another team. We had got to the point in fall ball where it was time to scrimmage. Now, mind you, I am a freshman, and the guy standing 60 feet 6 inches away from me getting ready to pitch to me, if you fast forward to the end of that year, he was the very first pick overall in the draft that year. Signed for $2.5 million at the end of that year in 1996. So he goes into his windup, he delivers a pitch, and something happened to me that I had never experienced on a baseball field up to that point. Never saw the ball. I heard it, but it came by me going about 98 miles an hour on the outside part of the black. Any of you guys play baseball too, or are you just basketball guys? Any baseball guys? All right, 98 miles an hour, outside black, strike one. I thought, oh, I'm in trouble. The guy behind me's catching, he starts chuckling, starts laughing. I look back, and he just got this big grin on his face. He's now the big league bullpen coach for the Washington Nationals, by the way. Second pitch, same thing. 98 miles an hour outside black. I'm 0-2. I haven't seen the first two pitches. Next pitch. What's customary in baseball, you got somebody 0-2, you waste a pitch, right? Well, that's unless you got a freshman standing there scared for his life. Third pitch, 98 miles an hour, outside black. I never budged, never took the bat off my shoulder, had no clue what had just happened. And for the first time in my life, I experienced something on a baseball field that I'd never experienced in my life before, and that was doubt. Immediately, as I'm walking back to the dugout, which seemed like a 7-mile walk, I'm beginning to be bombarded and flooded with all these negative thoughts that I'd never experienced before in my life. You can't play at this level. You've made a huge mistake. You're going to embarrass your team. You're going to embarrass yourself. You're going to embarrass your family. Your family's wasted money on you. Clemson's wasted money on you. All of these things begin to bombard me, and it was so foreign to me because I'd never experienced it before in my life. But before I got back to the bench, I had to make a critical decision, and that was profound, that had an impact for me going down the road, and I had to tell myself, yes, you do belong. Yes, you can compete at this level. Yes, you're going to be able to make adjustments. Yes, you're going to be able to eventually hit a guy like Chris Benson, who went on to win an Olympic gold medal and pitch in the big leagues for 10 plus years. You can do it. So I tell you that story because probably some of you at some point in your athletic career up until now have experienced doubt before. If you haven't, trust me, it's coming. You're going to get in a situation, get in a game, you're going to play against talent that you haven't played before, and you're going to begin to question yourself. You're only human, that's only natural. But what you need to be on guard against that and kick those thoughts out as quickly as they come into your mind and replace those with positive thoughts. Yes, you can compete at that level. Yes, you can make adjustments, and yes, you are there for a reason because each one of you have the talent to be there as well. A lot of times folks ask me if I missed the game. And here's how I answer that, guys. You guys will be able to relate to a lot of what I'm saying. Even though you haven't played yet collegiately and professionally, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I miss my teammates. You guys have a bond that you will carry for the rest of your life. I'm still very close with some of the guys that I played collegiately with and professionally, and I'm sure you guys have that same similar bond. I miss competing. Don't ever take for granted the opportunity that you guys have at your age every single time you go to practice, you put the uniform on and play the game. Because you have an opportunity to compete. And you will not always have that for the rest of your life. So value and treasure what you have now in the opportunity to compete. And the third thing that I missed is the jersey. You know, one of the things I hope you guys understand is that when you put that on and it says, what does it say, Scott's All-Stars, it's more than just you. It's bigger than you. It's really not about you. You're representing so much more than yourself when you put that jersey on. And to whom much is given, much is expected. So you should be held to a higher standard as a student athlete, as a Scots All-Star. And I hope you guys see that and value and understand the opportunity that you have to put on a jersey. If you want to put on a jersey at the next level and the level beyond that, it will show with how you treat the level that the jersey that you wear now at this level. One of the things that the game taught me how to do, and I hope you guys either already are beginning to learn this through Marcus or begin to learn this yourselves, is it taught me to evaluate my strengths and my weaknesses. You see, you guys might, like I did with baseball, play a team sport, and each one of you bring a different set of strengths and weaknesses to the game and to the team. It's a team aspect. None of you can win the game alone. You don't lose the game alone. You're all working together as a team. But at your age now, begin to evaluate what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses. You know, in baseball, what I had to fight, what every little kid has to fight against doing, is just showing up and practicing the things that they're good at, because it's fun and it's easy. But I don't make myself a better ball player that way. I'm not well-rounded that way. So begin to work on your weaknesses and try to turn them into your strengths, okay? And from time to time, you are going to make mistakes. We're all human, right? I want to talk to you a little bit about some mistakes that I made, and to walk you through some scenarios on the field and how they're handled. One of the greatest things that the game of baseball taught me to do is fail. Think about that statement for a minute. One of the greatest things it ever taught me was how to fail. I had to learn what wrong felt like before I knew what right felt like. And it's okay to fail. You guys make mistakes. I said this at the school board conference. I think a lot of times where we make mistakes with younger kids is we try to prevent them from failing, when really our job is to be there for them, to pick them up, dust them off, and get them back on the right path. It's okay to fail. It's how you respond to that is what matters. You know, in the game of baseball, if you're given 10 at-bats and you get 3 hits, you're considered a successful hitter. You're hitting 300. Well, you failed 7 times. So how you learn to deal with failure, I used to do a lot of private one-on-one baseball lessons, and I would always tell my kids this: how you learn to deal with the 7s will dictate how many 3s you get. If you don't learn how to deal with failure, you're not going to be successful. It's okay to fail. And here's a scenario back in my college days. We're playing in a big ball game. I don't remember what team, but I remember who my pitcher was. His name was Ryan Model. Ryan Model went on to play and represent our country, the United States, in the Olympics. Also played minor league ball. I think he made it up to the AAA level with the Cincinnati Reds. Big game, Mott's is on the mound. I'm playing short. They hit a ball to me, and my job is to do what? Field it, right? If you go back to the roles and responsibilities that we bring to the table, you guys, if you look at me, I'm not a big guy. You know, my role wasn't from the offensive side to get up there and hit home runs, right? My job was to find a way to get on base, move guys over, bunt, hit and run, do all those things. And on defense, my job was to be a vacuum cleaner on the left side of the infield. Well, I let him down. Ball hit to me, I booted it. So I said, Mott, that's my bad. He said, Rope, don't worry about it. I'm going to get you another ground ball. You and Bolt turn 2 and get us out of here. My bad is ownership. When you mess up, own it, right? You make a mistake, there's 2 types of mistakes that you're going to make in athletics: mental and physical. Mental mistakes drive coaches crazy. Physical mistakes are going to happen, right? But when you make a mistake, own it. And what did Model do to me? What did Motts do for me right then when he said, don't worry about it. I'm going to get you another ground ball. Let's turn 2 and get out of here. He says, it's okay. I still got confidence in you. You're okay. I'm going to get you another. So when you make a mistake, guys, own it. And if you're a teammate of that guy, you come alongside him, it's going to be okay. We're going to get him next time. Don't ever, ever, ever show a teammate or a coach up. It drives me nuts when I see that happen. It happens way too often. Don't ever show up on your teammates or your coaches. one of the single most important lesson I ever learned about baseball and through the game of baseball came to me when I was probably you guys' age. My mom taught school in the public school system for 32 years as a PE teacher. And when most of my friends or other classmates in high school were off doing other things in the evenings or at nights, I was a gym rat. I was in that gym with my dad constantly, taking ground balls, hitting wiffle balls, hitting bottle caps, doing everything I possibly could do to enhance my game. And this one particular night, my dad's hitting me ground balls, and I probably fielded 100 in a row without missing one. And then I missed one. And so my dad starts walking the length of the gym down to me, and in my mind, I'm thinking, what is he doing? I've just caught 100 in a row. I missed one. What's the big deal? So he gets all the way down there to me, and he says, Doug, what happened on that ground ball? And like any kid would do, I make an excuse, right? Took a bad hop. I said, no, that ball did not take a bad hop. That was a missed opportunity. Turns around, that's all he said. Turns around and walks back the length of the gym. And what am I thinking? You're crazy. Right? You're crazy. But I can't tell you how many times I have applied that in my life since then. Things are going to come your way, and you have choices to make. Either you can view it as a bad hop, or it's an opportunity for you to rise above and be successful. Let me tell you about some of the things that I've experienced. Sophomore year at Clemson. First game of the season. First at-bat of the season. I foul a ball off my leg and break it to 2 places. Had to take a medical ratio. Some might view that as a bad hop, right? I had an option. I could have sulked, could have been bitter, could have wasted that year. But rather, I looked at that year as an opportunity to become a better ball player. I learned more in that 1 year by sitting and watching my other teammates than I did in any other year. What about when I was in pro ball? I'm living the dream, guys. I am getting paid to play the game of baseball. June 4th of 2000, I'm actually playing one of my former college teammates. The same year I got drafted, I was a 26th round draft pick. He was a first round draft pick. I come up, bases loaded. He's playing with the Orioles, I'm playing with the Blue Jays. Come up, bases loaded. I get a base hit, knock in 2 guys. I'm on first base. I'm jacked. I'm thinking, this is great. We'll go to dinner tonight. He's the millionaire. He'll pick up the tab, right? Guy behind me hits the ball to the shortstop. I'm in that zone that you don't want to be in as a base runner, where you're about to begin your slide when the ball got past the shortstop and into left field. So I'm almost sliding to now I'm going to try to stay on my feet and take third. And when my right foot hit the bag, it exploded. It sounded like a shotgun going off. Blew my ankle up. That was the very last time I ever put a baseball uniform on in my entire life. Had no idea that was happening. June 4th of 2000 was just another day, guys. Putting on the uniform, going to play, playing another teammate of mine in college, living the dream, over. Now, is that a bad hop? No. Because here's what it did. I came from a great family, right? But for the first time, here's what this opportunity allowed me to do. I went to work at a place called the Paul Anderson Youth Home in Vidalia, Georgia. It's a Christian home for troubled teenage boys between the ages of 16 and 21 that would otherwise be incarcerated. And through me working there, I come to a point in my life where I understand what it means to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. I grew up in the church my entire life, but that opportunity transformed my life. Just because you're parked in a garage doesn't mean you're a car, boys. I had no clue what it meant to understand what it meant to have a personal relationship with Jesus. But through a bad hop on what some might say was a bad hop on a baseball field, I came to that point in my life. Now let's take it away from baseball. Let's make it personal. What about September 16th of 2010? My wife and I are pregnant for the first time with our first baby. Everything's going great. Perfect pregnancy up until month 4. We go to the doctor. Doctor says, I'll never forget this. She's looking at the screen. There's no heartbeat. She says, Doug, Mom, I'm sorry to tell you, but your baby has died.
That's tough, boys. That's tough. That's real. Is that a bad hop? No. That was an opportunity, even at that age, and even with a relationship with Christ up into my life, for me to understand I cannot make it through this alone. The only thing I can do is cling to that cross and say, God, I do not understand your timing, but I trust you. So as you go through your life, whether it's athletically, academically, personal, you're going to have things that happen. Who's ever heard of Truett Cathy? Raise your hand. You ever heard of Chick-fil-A? Y'all heard of Chick-fil-A, right? Truett Cathy started Chick-fil-A. And this is what he says: in life, you have two types of choices that you make, good ones and bad ones. I want you to remember this tonight. I want you to remember what I'm talking to you about. And when you come across things athletically, academically, and professionally, and personally, you can view them as bad hops or opportunities to rise above and be successful. And I hope you choose the latter. What happened to me that night in Sally Meadows, why I missed that ball, is because I got lazy. You see, as infielders, the most important part of our bodies, it's not our arm strength, it's not how smooth we are with our hands, it's our feet. And what happened that night is I sat back and I allowed that ball to play me, and I got lazy, and I quit moving my feet. And if you do that in sports, and if you do that in life, life will chew you up and spit you out. I'm so glad you guys hit on earlier about the importance of student athlete. There's a reason why the word student comes before the word athlete. Statistically speaking, it's just the truth. I'm not dashing dreams, but statistically speaking, not many of you will play at the next level. And probably nobody in this room will play in the NBA if you look at statistics. Now, am I telling you to give up on your dream? Absolutely not. Remember, I won a state championship in every level through rec ball. After I graduated high school, I got to put on a jersey that said Team Georgia. I got to represent the state. After that, I got to put on the jersey that said Team USA and play in the Junior Olympics and represent this country. And then I got to put on a jersey that said Clemson University. And I've got one shadow box, my jersey shadow boxed at home with a patch on it from the College World Series. And then I got to play with one that said Toronto Blue Jays. But do you realize all throughout my life, everyone told me I was too small to play this game. I was told in Little League, you're too small. I was told in high school, too small. I was told you'll never play college ball. I was told you'll never play professional baseball. Don't give up on your dream, but you have to work as hard as you do on the court in the classroom, bar none, because at some point you will have to have an education to follow to be productive citizens in this life, to be assets rather than liabilities to society. So, I don't know how long that was. I know you told me I had 15 minutes. I don't know if you want to do a Q&A, you want to do open it up. Anybody got any questions? I'll take any questions. If not, that's all the prepared remarks that I want to ask. Anybody got anything athletically, academically, professionally, personally? I'm an open book. I'll answer any question you got. Anybody got anything?
Just get next questions. Any questions?
Thank you guys. I enjoyed it. Appreciate you having me.
Doug, that was excellent. And what did you guys learn from that? What did you take out of that? What was the one point maybe that was the most important thing that you took out of that? I know you all were listening because I looked at you. Anybody? How about if I point 4 out real quick? Go ahead. Student athletes, that's important. Let me point out 4 things I took notes on real quick. He talked about the thing, Doug said the thing he missed the most was to compete at practices and games. And I think sometimes you guys and younger people think that it's the game time when they need to perform. But Marcus will tell you this, it's practice where you need to give it your all, because that's where you're evaluated the most. So as you get older and start to play middle school and high school sports, it's practice where you're evaluated. That's where you make it or break it during practice, because that's what will prepare you for the game. So give everything you have in practice, because that's where it all starts. You can't slack in practice, because if you do, coaches will see it, and you won't be playing in the games. Also, Doug talked about the physical versus the mental mistakes. The physical mistakes are one and done. You can't shake them off. To me, the mental mistakes are the ones that kind of replicate, they multiply, I should say. So those mental mistakes can become more and more and more. That's why you need to shake them mental mistakes up very quickly when you make them. Also, don't give up your dream. I think the biggest thing to me is, what kind of world would we live in if we didn't have those dreams? You have to keep dreaming. That's what keeps us moving. That's what gives us hope. So keep those dreams. Keep those basketball dreams or baseball or football. Keep dreaming, because statistically, you may not make it in the NBA, but there's always a chance that one of you will, or two of you will, because we've seen it happen. Doug's seen it. He made it into pro baseball. And I think the last point that I jotted down was when he said his last moment was in when you popped your ankle, 2000. He knew, though, that he gave it his all up until that point. You don't ever know when your last moment may be. So give everything you have in it, because you may not have that next day to play basketball or that next day to do something. So make sure you give everything you have at all times when you're playing the sport that you love, because you don't know when that dream will end. And I think that's so very important. All right. As we cruise along here, is Aniva here? Did I say it right? Aniva Gray? You are up next to talk for the parents' moment. You are speaking on behalf of all the parents.
Okay, just want to say that my family and I are very proud to be a part of this organization. We, before we joined the team, we would always admire Scott's All-Stars from afar. We played in different tournaments with Scott's All-Stars, and to seeing you all at different tournaments, and my husband and I, my daughter, would always sit back and say, well, they seem so very disciplined and well-behaved and always well-dressed. And we just always admire the team and the talent on the court, and also off the court. You all would sit around and we just watch you all. Just always remember someone's always watching. You never know who's watching. But we would always watch and see you all pray before the game. Just different things that you did when we weren't even on the team. We just admired the team. So we just, when things weren't going good on our team, my husband decided to join Scott's All-Stars, and I was kind of hesitant because we lived in Brunswick and he was way in Hinesville, and I was like, well, how are we going to do this? Going to practice way in Brunswick, way in Hinesville, we're in Brunswick, but it all worked out, and I'm glad we joined the team, and looking forward to more years, the future of the team. So, thank you.
All right, we're actually going to hold off to do the awards on that. So, Daquan, you get to come up earlier than you thought. I know you've been itching to come up here, and you've waited patiently, but you can't wait any longer. So it's time for the invocation. You are in the hot seat.
Dear Lord, we ask you to bless the food we are about to receive. We also ask you to bless the servers and the fellow people that has came to receive this great meal. We are thankful for all of your blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Yes, the boys first. We'll start with the boys, and then we'll go to the parents. Y'all go ahead, food is in the back.